natin to.
Kaya natin to.
Like Andres Bonifacio,
He is our hero.
hindi at takbo.
Hindi atakbo. Nandyan na ang bakuna. Magpapaturok ka ba? Supilit na ang pandemya. Magpapaturok ka ba?
Huwag mawalan ng pag-asa.
May pag-asa.
Malapit na ang ginhawa.
May ginhawa.
Mawawala ang pandemya. Mawawala na rin yan. It's gonna be okay na.
Okay na, okay na, okay na. Nandyan na ang bakuna. Magpapaturok ka ba? Supilit na ang pandemya. Magpapaturok ka ba? Nandyan na ang bakuna. Magpapaturok ka ba? Supilit na ang pandemya. Magpapaturok ka ba?
You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel RJAM News. To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup.
Hello and welcome to the World News Jam right here on DZRJ and RJTV. My name is Eric Lecain and I am joined with Lolly Tolentino. Talk about stories going on around the world, some questions that have come in from our viewers this week, which we are going to answer. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, RJAM News, to watch all the shows here on RJTV. Now, Lolly Tolentino, how is your week been?
It's been a pretty tough week for me, but then there's one thing happened again.
What happened to you, Lolly Tolentino?
I got vaccinated for the second time.
Now, I knew you were going to say that because I knew you had been vaccinated for the second time. So you are now done with your vaccinations.
Yes.
Now, you got, just out of curiosity, where did you get your second vaccine today or this week?
Well, this time I went to Makati Coliseum for the second dose.
Okay. And since you have had your second vaccine, how do you feel, Lolly Tolentino? Because I have noticed that you are not dead. So if all the people that are worried that you might be dead. So are there any side effects? Have you felt any discomfort or anything?
No, I did not feel any discomfort, and that's contrary to, well, other people says that. Well, I don't know, because some of my friends who got vaccinated this week, they feel fine. The two very close friend of mine, and one of our viewers says, well, she feels so sleepy after the vaccination.
All right. Well, I feel sleepy
What?
all the time, so I don't know if that's going to be that much different for me. But she didn't have any major side effects.
No, not at all. So that's why I was like pretty much amazed when people say, "Oh, I feel fine." I mean, there's no complaints so far with the people that I know who got vaccinated, whether it's Sinovac or Astra.
Okay.
They're all okay.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're free now? Like you can walk out into the streets and go dancing?
Well, to be honest, not, yes, that could be another thing, but then you know what? Since, yeah, okay, I am vaccinated already. I mean, twice. I had my second job, but then we only have like, let's say, about 2 million vaccinated. So how many population do we have in the Philippines? So I'm not that safe yet, meaning I still be wearing my mask and face shield when I go out. Anyway, I'm used to face mask. It's better to walk around wearing my face mask so nobody will notice me, I think.
Well, the great thing is with face mask is if somebody tries to take your picture, you don't really have to smile. You don't have to do that fake
Yeah,
smile. You
exactly.
can just,
Hmm.
and you can sneeze without having to cover your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, I'm for over a year now, I'm used to face mask. The only thing that I kind of hate sometimes is the facial because, it really blocks your, but if you're just by yourself, you can just wear your face mask when you walk around.
You know
So
what else I
I'm good.
found? You know
I'm
what else
good.
I found is if you wear a face mask, you never have to brush your teeth again.
Wha- Too bad.
But I don't
Well,
recommend that. But I'm just saying that it does help with the bad breath. I think you can get really close to people. Sometimes people that I know that I don't get close to on the fact that they have stinky breath. But now they wear a face mask, so sometimes I like the idea of wearing the face mask. It helps in a lot of other different ways. And it's
yeah.
funny. A lot of people wore face masks before,
Hmm.
especially in China. When I would go on trips to China, everybody was wearing a face mask in China before, years before this outbreak was. And now it's funny, like in the United States, people are mad at people for wearing a mask. Well, you've been vaccinated, so why are you wearing a mask? And there was this whole confrontation in Congress where one congressman was yelling at the other congressman, take off your mask. And it's
Oh,
like, okay, all right, fine. It's not that big a political statement. If you want to wear a mask for whatever reason, you can just wear a mask. I think this virus has changed the way a lot of us live, and now we're all used to wearing masks where we didn't wear masks
yeah.
before. And even when it ends, I don't know, I think a lot of people will still continue to wear masks.
Yeah, I think so. Because especially here in Manila, it's when you walk around, and it's so dusty. It's not so clean air. So better yet to cover your face, right? So you cannot you will not inhale the pollution or something like that. So
Yeah, and we
I
keep
think
we keep forgetting that the coronavirus is not the only disease.
yes,
There's other diseases
yes.
like the cold and the flu and
Hmm.
other things that you don't want to get, sinus infections, which I seem to get, at the drop of a hat. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to wear a mask.
Yeah, I guess so. So we just continue wearing masks. We cannot just let our guards down for the meantime. It's still a long process.
So anyway, you heard it first here on DZRJ on the World News Jam. Lolly Tolentino has had both of her vaccines now, and she is not dead, and she is very
Yeah.
much alive and not feeling any side effects. So if that helps any of you out there that might have a wariness to taking the vaccine, just take a good look at Lolly Tolentino. She looks as beautiful as ever.
Thank you, Eric. I think you know what. That's a good advice. Tell them to wear a mask. So I'll take the vaccine so you will look beautiful and handsome.
Yes. Now, speaking of beautiful, handsome people, we have all our viewers out there, and they have been asking us questions this week. What questions do you have this week from our viewers that they have sent in? I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, so let's get right to it.
Yeah. All right. The very first question that we have for today is from Glenda of Quezon City. What is the latest shocking events between Israel and Palestinian? Do you think the war between them will continue forever?
Yeah, it seems so. Well, first of all, there was an issue with a Palestinian gathering in Jerusalem at the beginning of Ramadan. This is what started all. The Israeli police, they tried to block them, and that pretty much lit the fuse to this latest encounter between the two. They went to, evict some Palestinians from East Jerusalem neighborhood, and then that's all they need. They just need the littlest thing, and it sets everything off. And so now Israel is firing rockets into Gaza, and they killed 43 Palestinians, including 13 children and 3 women. Every time they seem to take a step closer to peace, they take 2 steps back. But, in looking at this question, why? Why? And this is a question that we will ask for the next, we've been asking it for 50 years. We'll ask it for the next 50 years. Why is everybody fighting over this little worthless piece of desert in the middle of nowhere? And so many people have been killed over this piece of hot, dusty sand where not really much will grow. And it comes down to religion. It's one of the most sacred places in the world. It's where most religion, they say, a lot of it began in Jerusalem. And the Palestinians lived there forever. And the Israelis, they came and took it from them, and they want it back. And they're not going to leave. And the Israelis are not going to give it back. And because in the world, if you have the biggest guns, we've talked about this before, you're the one that gets to draw the lines. You're the one that gets to take over the country. And this is always the way it has been. And so the Palestinians, the reason that I think this thing has continued is because of the rest of the world, the rest of the Muslim world, which still reveres the Palestinians as the true people of Israel. And so, they, for hundreds of years, they've been fighting. And then, this mosque that they stopped them, one of the most holiest mosques in the world for the Muslims, and they're trying to stop them from, going to that mosque, and that just started it all.
Yeah, that's so sad. No? Up to now, they're still fighting, and now is one of the worst, time also for the Palestinian and the Israelis. And, we have Filipinos that lives there. And I saw the interview in one of our networks that, some people, they want to come back here, but they said when they come back to the Philippines, there's no job for them. So they would rather stick there, and they would rather die there.
Of course.
With the people there.
Yeah, there are places like this particular mosque that we're talking about where only Muslims can pray. And there's places where the Jews go and they pray. And, when one goes to the other, then a fight starts. And this is the way wars have started throughout time, is one person, has a dispute over one piece of land, and then his neighbors get involved, and then his neighbors get involved, and then they call the city, and then the city comes, and the city gets involved, and then the kingdom comes, and then before you know it, there's a war, and nobody even sometimes doesn't even remember how the whole war started. Now, in this past couple of years, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, said that Jerusalem is now the capital of Israel. Well, that didn't go over very well with anybody in the Muslim world. And so that, there's so many things that have been stirred into this pot now, that confrontations are just reverberating around the world. Because like I said, one small group and then another small group, and then before you know it, the people that are behind them, and then everybody's fighting, or now they're shooting rockets into neighborhoods in Gaza. And sometimes people don't even remember what we were fighting for in the first place.
Well, I just hope this war will end, because, nobody will benefit the war. Both of them.
Yeah. No matter how close they get to peace. And they have gotten to peace a couple of times in my lifetime. And every time they get to, getting closer to peace, then somebody fires a gun. And then somebody on this side fires a gun. And they keep saying, well, what we need to do is we need to change the youth. The youth needs to, we need to bring up new people, that believe in peace. That's actually the opposite of what is happening now, because the youth are getting madder and madder and more radicalized than ever before, especially in Israel. And a lot of these things, when they, these governments start to, come together and finally find some kind of peaceful way of resolving something like this, then somebody comes in and runs in, a young suicide bomber runs into a bar and blows it up, and then everything is starting over from scratch again. So I don't see how they're going to find peace until they change the minds of everybody. And it's for me, and I want to, I don't want to go on and on about this subject, but there are so many places in this world with nothing, where there is no people, there's no thing, and we're all fighting over this one piece of desert, over the fact that we believe that this is where, religion that we can't prove under any shadow of a doubt even started there, even, that any of these people were even there ever. It's just through stories, which is okay. I mean, I believe in a lot of these stories too, but there is no proof that any of this ever existed. And this is what we're killing each other over. And it's just one of those things where I don't know what the answer is ever going to be. And, as long as, religion overshadows common sense, sometimes they will be continuing to fight.
Okay. Maybe I should go there and talk to them and tell them.
Yeah, go. We need Lolly Tolentino to go to Israel and have a talk with.
Oh no. Okay, let's go to Tito Pasay. Do you think President Putin is afraid of Navalny?
Of course he is. I mean, if he wasn't, then why would he come up with these elaborate schemes to disqualify him from running for the presidency? And why, assassinate him? And when it doesn't work and he flies to Europe to get medical treatment, why throw him in jail when he comes back from getting his treatment that saved his life, because they're saying that he violated his probation from the fake embezzlement charge that they had him before, where they stopped him from becoming president. Of course, Putin is afraid of this guy, and he tries not to be, but you can tell. I mean, let's just go back. Putin, when Putin first became president, he wanted to run Russia like the KGB, to be able to do things without worrying somebody pointing it out, that all the things that he might be doing that are illegal. And so he took over all the media outlets, the TV, the radio, the newspapers. He runs everything. So independent media is gone. So he can hide all his actions from the public and the world because there's nobody to report on it. Then next he went after the elections, making sure that he had control on who would get voted into office and making sure that only his people loyal to him could ever get elected and sometimes could ever run. And as far as the presidential election, he clearly put in his own people to run against him, who he could control exactly what he would say. Yeah. And that's what, the whole world is calling, democracy in Russia is kind of a joke. But the biggest thing, Putin controlled the vote counting. So clearly there was nobody that could ever run against him and ever win, because he runs everything in regards to exactly how who can run and how votes are counted and so forth and so forth. So, even after that, he took over the most powerful companies in Russia. He went after all the richest people in Russia and are like, are you with me? And if you're not with me, then I will say you're embezzling from your company and we will have a fake trial and we'll throw you in jail. And that's exactly what he did. And I will take all your stuff. And this is why Putin is now the richest man in the world, because he took everybody's stuff. And, it's a government that's run on corruption. I mean, I won't make examples of who they're like or who it's very similar to, but let's just say the entire government has been run on corruption. And this guy, Navalny, figured out a way to show everybody what's happening. He made a blog and he had this blog and he put it up on Facebook, and everybody was seeing it, and he circumvented the media. He ran for mayor of Moscow, and the media didn't even they gave him zero, coverage on him running for mayor, but he managed to almost win. And when it would look like he was about to win, then they charged him for embezzlement.
Okay, so because that's the problem. If somebody's really in control of the country, nobody can really, in a way, beat him because he has everything with him: the media, the money, I mean, the power, everything. So, so sad for Navalny, and this guy. I hope he will not just die.
What's interesting? What's interesting, and I got to say this about Navalny is. What he did, he didn't even realize was happening. He became, because he got, thrown in jail, and he made all these videos. He made all these videos where it's not only a video saying, oh, Putin is corrupt. He showed it. He showed mountains of evidence, and people all saw these things. And he kind of became famous. And he is like, right now, whether he wants to or not, he is the second most popular politician in Russia under Putin. And so, yeah, I mean, Putin, I think he tried to ignore him, and then he's like, okay, I can't ignore this guy. I need to assassinate him. So they tried to assassinate him. And then they almost did. However, he was able to get out of the Moscow hospital that he was in that said he must have food poisoning, and he got to Germany, and then they got him fixed up. And then he tricked the guys who are the ones that poisoned him into telling him how they did it. And then he played it on the internet, and everybody saw it. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't even believe that this guy is still alive, because if anybody speaks out against Putin or they protest against Putin, he has them killed. But what Navalny does is he's gotten very, very good at creating these protest marches. And Putin, if you protest against him, he can have you killed if there's 20 or 30 people. But if there's hundreds of thousands, he can't kill hundreds of thousands of people. And this is why I believe that Putin is now somewhat afraid of this guy, because he's able to amass all these people. And right now, Putin's approval numbers have been dropping, especially after he made himself president for life. He changed the laws in Russia and made himself president for life. So right now he's not doing too well. And the way he's going to stay president for life is people are going to have to like him. But if the public turns against him, because right now the Russian economy is, it's not doing so well. And so, this is a good chance for these guys like Navalny. Now, Navalny can't run for president because he has now been convicted of a crime that they, made up. So, but he's still, even though he's been almost assassinated, he's still, doing his videos. And he just did a video that he released just recently, which I saw, which is called The Biggest Bribe Ever. And it's how Putin was given this incredible mansion, this massive mansion, and how he was bribed with this mansion. And it's all on video. And like I said, Putin is not right now the most popular. Before he used to say my popularity is 99% in Russia. Well, there's no way it's 99% now.
Okay. It's hard to be, a politician who wants to stay in power for life. Wow.
It's just make yourself
Somebody
God.
Like
I am the God of Russia.
All right. Okay, so let's now go to Enchong of Malate. Is Bitcoin cryptocurrency the new thing instead of cash? How safe is that?
Okay, this is a question that I get asked a lot, actually, about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is a gamble. It is. If you bought it in 2017, it was $20,000. And if you sold it in 2018, it was $3,500. And then if you held it until 2020, it was worth $56,000. It is like, it is one of the craziest, volatile, pieces of tender that you can own. But what's good about it is you can trade with it anywhere around the world. It's like a stock that you can buy from any country. It's not like dollars or euros that are traceable. There's no centralized bank. It's not regulated. You can buy Bitcoin and put it in your Bitcoin wallet, and you can mine it if you want to get into mining. Now, I can't go through all the issues of what it means to mine, but you can figure out these complex mathematical algorithms and you can get Bitcoin. However, that requires a lot of skill, a lot of money to make the machines in order to be able to do this, and a lot of luck, because you got to be the first one to figure it out. But anyway, we're not going to go into mining because it makes my head hurt just to think about it. But Bitcoin is, the reason that a lot of people like it is there's no trail back to you. When you buy something online, you have to pay with a credit card, or you have to pay with PayPal, or you have to pay with a debit card or Gcash, whatever. And it's traceable. It's traceable back to you. There's a middleman. There's a bank involved. With Bitcoin, there's no bank. It's like having gold. It's like being like living in the 1300s, where you trade gold for land and stuff, and it's not, they don't know where your gold came from. They don't know where you got it. You may have stolen it from the King of France. But with Bitcoin, it's like that. You acquire it, and then there's no way to trace it. Now, the problem with that is people use it for bad things like blackmail and Ponzi schemes and buying illegal things. But in a lot of ways, it's great. The only problem with it is, and here again, let me just give a warning for Bitcoin. If you have the money and you have the time, it's a good thing to get to. But if you don't have the money, if you're doing it because you think it's a get-rich-quick scheme, it's not. Because right now, all these companies are ganging up trying to sell you Bitcoin. And what they'll do is they'll do that, and they'll drive up the cost of Bitcoin. And then they'll cash out. And then when they cash out, what's going to happen? The price of Bitcoin is going to drop. So these are the people who manipulate stocks the same way they do to manipulate stocks. They're now manipulating Bitcoin. So if you get into this, you need to be able to get into it for the long term. Wait for it, because it's going to drop. We know it's going to drop. And the other thing too is there's a lot of other Bitcoins coming out now. There's a lot of other, ways of trading online. So you got to be in this for the long haul, or you got to be in it to lose, maybe, because it's a gamble. If you've got the money, sure, you can make a ton. I mean, I have a friend who has made millions of dollars, because this thing went up like thousands of percent. He bought it back when it was nothing. Before, when it came out in 2010, it was 8 cents for a Bitcoin.
Really?
And now what is it? What is it now? $50,000. So, a lot of people became really rich. But like I said, make sure you have money to lose, because we don't know. We don't know if Bitcoin is going to go up or down. Nobody does.
And the other thing that scared me about that Bitcoin thing, because I don't really understand how it really works, is that, because this is digital, right? You trade digitally, right? Because this is like everything is online. And to my imagination, I don't know if I could be wrong, I could be right, but then what if it just one click of fingers of somebody, one touch, and it's gone, everything is gone? Do you think it's possible? That's the one thing. Well, if you have cash, for example, I have cash, I have it in my wherever safety deposit box, or I have it in the bank, at least I know that I have money there, right? But then with this one, though, there's a advantage of, like, you can trade, you can use it to buy something, by using the Apple, I don't know. But then it's kind of scary in a way, but I don't know. That's my personal opinion about it.
What is scary about it is originally this thing was designed to buy stuff. It was designed to trade. But now people are not buying it to trade. They're buying it to keep it and make money and resell it. So it's no longer, it's gold is what it is. It's a piece of gold. And so it's online. The whole thing is online. There is nothing you're going to, there's no Bitcoin you're going to hold in your hand. So can it be hacked? I mean, conceivably, everything can be hacked. I mean, conceivably, every bank in the world can be hacked. Hey, look what happened to the power grid, the United States, they hack that. The company that deals, and we can get into this in another time, but that deals in in fuel and oil was hacked recently, and they had to pay a lot of money to these hackers because they were able to infiltrate their machines. So yeah, it's possible. Banks are hard to hack these days. It is. It's hard to hack a bank because they're very good at it. But hey, there may be some kid around the corner that's figured out a way to do it. The whole banking system could be turned upside down next year. We don't know. The whole world was turned upside down last year with a virus. We didn't know that was going to happen, so we couldn't see that coming.
Yes.
So who knows what the heck is coming? So I don't know what to say. I can't. It's a 50-50. A lot of people I know made a lot of money with Bitcoin, and they could have lost money. It's just, like I said, it's pulling the slot machine. It's just like with any other stock. If you've got the money to lose, then you may come out a winner. But you got to make sure that if you're going to lose money, that it's not going to hurt you.
Okay, so I don't know about the Bitcoin thing yet, but let's see what's going to happen. I don't have money to buy that Bitcoin, so I have no problem with that.
It's quite expensive. One Bitcoin now is quite expensive. But like I said, I've never seen, in my mind, in my time working with the stock market, I've never seen such a volatile, and it's not a stock, but something as volatile as that, where it can jump up and down $20,000-$30,000 in a month. It's just, it really is an incredibly volatile commodity.
All right. Now let's go to Emmy of Patagig. What about infertility, and what are the ways to cope with it? Any input? Okay. Let me see your expertise.
Yeah, this is an interesting subject, and we have spoken about infertility on the show before, as how much money is being spent on infertility by women, because it's one of the biggest parts of being a human being, is having children, being able to raise and nurture a child. That you and your spouse will share for a lifetime. But what if you can't? What if you can't? That part of your life is not, you can't do it. You're not blessed with, that part of being a human being. So, what can you do? You can go to a fertility clinic, and they can do amazing things in fertility clinics now for a price. It's not a small price. It's a big price. They can remove your eggs and implant sperm into them, even put them back into a different woman, and then the child that comes out is going to be yours. But like I said, you can spend a lot of money on this, and it doesn't always work. It works. I mean, they're getting really good at it. They're getting much better at it, but it doesn't always work. And what I would like to say on this subject is, it's not the end of the world if you can't be a parent of a child with your DNA. Why is it everyone around the world is having babies? And I know anger and resentment comes into it a lot, because you see a lot of people having babies that shouldn't be having babies, that don't even want to have babies, and they have children that they don't want, and they have to discard whatever because they don't want them. Why can't I have a baby? And sometimes that's just the way things are. But there are so many unwanted children in this world, so many children that are unloved, that just are waiting for a parent. And how much does it matter really if the child has your DNA or not? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
And for me, I know, because I have friends who tried doing this infertility, and I know some people, and I know some people got kids from doing this, right? I mean, we know some celebrities did this, and friends from the church, I know couples, they've been married up to now, no kids, but they're happy without the kids, because they say, well, maybe God did not bless us with kids, but it doesn't really stop our relationship to be husband and wife, right? Because in the first place, you got married, the two of you, because you want to live forever, the two of you. Children or child is a bonus, right? But not every couple will be given a child, children. Some are, they have unborn children. I mean, they, they give birth to, I mean, being unwed mother because of, what's happening in our society. They just get pregnant and, sometimes they don't even know how to take care of the child, right? So for me, and this infertility thing is, I would say, well, thank you for maybe it is part of technology that they create this thing for some people to have kids or what. That is another story. But for me, a relationship between couple is that you and him or her is the partner here, whether with or without kids. Stay happy the way you are.
Yeah,
That's my two
I
cents.
I think so. I think so. And I think here again, let me just say, nobody needs to spend their entire life not being a parent. There are
Yeah,
so many children out there that need parents.
exactly.
I know that, everybody thinks that you need to have, your own DNA to pass your bloodline along. But, sometimes that's just not the way it is. That is not your destiny. And your
Yeah,
destiny is to do something else, maybe. And if you want to love a child and you want to raise a child as your own, it's not, there are a lot of kids that need you. And that's,
yeah,
that's my take
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, my friends, she adopted, her niece, nephews. I mean, your own family.
Yeah, that happens a
Yeah.
lot.
And then you, I know you're a father of a cat, so I think it's
Yes,
enough.
taking care of those cats is enough for me.
Especially the noisy cat. Anyway, let's go to, this from Pastor Ed of Pasig, our favorite pastor. Do you think Israel pressured to stop the eviction of Arab families from East Jerusalem to stop the escalation of conflict, which may involve not just Arab countries but even Turkey?
Yeah, this is what we were talking about before, where Muslims from around the world. And so now Turkey is calling on all Muslim nations to band together against Israel. Even to go as far as to saying, if you don't join us against Israel, then you're not Muslim. And the cycle continues. I mean, every time there's one of these conflicts, it gives a chance, like the president of Turkey, and we know this guy because we've talked about him here on the show, to
Mhm.
spout about how much they don't like Israelis. And of course, when they do that, it makes them more popular with their constituents there, the Muslim community there in Turkey. So, to be able to stand up against Israel or stand up against the United States and say, we're going to band together against these people that are killing, they're killing Muslims and they're throwing Palestinians out of their homes. Yeah, I mean, with this continuing like this, it's true. This may never end. And I think, and I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on this, they should just go ahead and make two separate countries. There, I said
Okay.
it. Draw a
Yeah,
Take a piece of
draw
duct tape
lines.
and put it right down the middle of Jerusalem, and the Palestinians get this, and the Israelis get that, and then
Yeah,
everybody gets their own thing. Now, the problem with that is, of course, then there's going to be a war between those two countries. All right, fine, but I have been all for separating Israel, even though it's already a tiny country. Can it use another cut? But you think about it this way. I mean, they're never going to resolve it as far as I can ever see. And the only way they're ever
yeah,
going to resolve the only way the Palestinians are ever going to be happy is you have to give them their own country.
yeah. I think so. So, Pastor Ed, let's go to
Give it to them.
Israel.
Give them Gaza. I mean, what? It's not like it's, great farmland or, it has a beautiful view. I still don't understand why they need to fight over this little piece of desert.
I know, right? Okay, let's try Mini from Mandaluyong. Can people are can people who are fully vaccinated can go out without mask, indoor, outdoor? Is it safe now?
Well, we can ask you that, Lolly Tolentino, but I can say that getting the vaccine can keep you from getting very sick with the virus. That's what that vaccine does, as we've explained before. However, those vaccines are not foolproof, and they don't know yet if it would stop you from spreading the virus. It will stop you from getting sick, but will it stop you from getting the virus and spreading it? Now, we already know that people that have gotten vaccinated have gotten the virus. An NBA player was in the news this last week, and he was fully vaccinated, and he ended up getting the virus. He's not going to get sick. He has the vaccine, but could he spread it to someone who will get sick? That is the question. That's the question that we have to ask. And, this has been an issue for many people. The vaccine is great, but you could inadvertently, because you have the vaccine, give the virus to someone else. And they're calling it now the silent spreader. These people that have the vaccine and is still being able to get the virus. And they've also coined this phrase, the great race, because once you get the vaccine and then you get COVID, let's say, can the virus replicate faster than the immune system can catch up with it? So that's been the issue, is which is faster. And the vaccine is given into your muscles. It's injected into your muscles. However, the virus transpires in your nose. And so this has been the big question, is can the vaccine catch up to what's going on in your nose, which is where this thing is going to begin and then work its way down into your chest and then into your body. So, here again, it's good to take the vaccine. Does that mean that you shouldn't wear a mask in a closed room with a lot of people? For now, I would say maybe continue to wear your mask.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what I said earlier, I got my second dose already, but then in the Philippines, we are only let's put it 2 million who got vaccinated. So meaning, the people that were going to, to go when we go out, maybe they're not vaccinated yet. I am vaccinated, right? So it is just for the protection of myself and the people around me. So better yet, still continue wearing masks.
Yeah, I mean,
indoor, outdoor.
I mean, to get to herd immunity, 70% of the public needs to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So we've been working on this for how long now? And we've gotten 1% vaccinated so far. And, none of these vaccines are foolproof. None of them are 100%. Sinovac is 50, 60, Pfizer is 90. None of them are completely foolproof that you won't get the disease. And you may get the disease, but you may not get sick from it. But that's the issue. Now, here again, let me just make one other point here. We've had smallpox vaccine, polio vaccines. But if you yourself went to another planet, you'd probably give everybody smallpox and polio. We have it. It's in our body. We have smallpox, but we're immune to it. We're immune to it because we have all been vaccinated, and over time we've developed a herd immunity amongst the population, so we don't get smallpox anymore. It doesn't mean that we don't have it. It doesn't mean that we don't have polio. If we went, like I said, if we went to Mars, we'd give all the Martians polio, and then they would blow up our planet because we killed them all. So I don't know. I mean, this is what, vaccines, this is how vaccines are. And this vaccine, it's going to have to change in another couple of years. It is.
Yeah, it will. It will change. But then in the meantime, whatever, like I was telling friends, okay, just take it whatever's available. Don't be so choosy. Oh, I want Moderna. Oh, I want Pfizer. Said no, whatever's available, because what if, you're going to get it December, you're going to get it next year. So I'd rather have something than nothing at all.
Yeah, eat the bread today because the bread may be gone tomorrow. And we don't know what is going to happen in the Philippines in the next couple of months. We hope that the vaccine thing will continue and we'll be able to get more and more people vaccinated. However, I have to say, if we continue to go at the same rate that we are, we may get everybody vaccinated in 9 years that they are estimating. So, but we don't know what vaccines are going to be available in July or available in August. So you have a chance to take the vaccine now. And this is the argument that I've had with multiple people. They are able to get the vaccine now and they won't take it. And I'm like, just take it. Well, it could be a side effect, and I may die. nobody has died yet that I know of from taking the
Yeah, me
Sinovac
too. Yeah.
vaccine. If somebody knows of somebody that has died from it, let me know and I'll say it on the air. But I don't know anybody that has passed away from taking the vaccine. So I think that it's safe. I think that you should take it and then for a while, not forever, not outside. You don't have to be as crazy as we are now. Maybe wear your mask if you're inside a closed room with a meeting with people who haven't had the vaccine yet.
Yeah. Okay, take your vaccine, whatever is available. Okay, let's go now to Eddie of Manila. Okay. What do you think of the latest read annulment in the Philippines? Do you think it's fair now than before? Okay, what do you know about this?
Uh,
The annulment in the Philippines. We don't have divorce. We have annulment. We talked about this before in
Yeah.
our other
I
show.
mean, I believe that not having a divorce law in the Philippines is a bad policy. They're the only country that does not have divorce. I've had this argument with many people. So two people don't wish to be married anymore. So they can get an annulment. Now, that's not even the real meaning of the word. That's not what annulment means. Annulment means that, in legal terms, is that you were never married. The marriage never happened, such as you got married to somebody and then we find out later you were married to somebody else. So that marriage is
Mm,
annulled. Or you married, two young children got married without the consent of their parents, and that marriage is annulled because it never happened. So what they do in the Philippines is they use the annulment to mean divorce, which is what it means. And it is, I have to say, and a lot of people are going to yell at me, it is one of the biggest scams of corruption I have ever seen in the Philippines. 200, 300,000 pesos to just say that you're not married anymore.
mhm.
I mean, am I wrong? And then in that case, you may not even get it. You pay the judge 200,000 pesos, and he pays off all his people, and then in the end, you don't get it because he wants more money. And I've heard so many stories about the issues of what's going on, with these annulments, and the fact that you can get married and then 12 years later, 15 years later, as my other friend, and then get an annulment. It doesn't, just make divorce legal. I don't understand why
Yeah.
I know the church, doesn't believe in divorce, but the laws of the 1200s and the 1300s don't apply anymore.
Yeah.
Two people, and I'll just finish and let you come in on this, but two people, they're 18 years old and they're in love. I know, I've seen it. And then a year later, he gets drunk every night and sleeps with many women. And he gets hepatitis. And then he won't get a job and demands that she works. And he takes her money to buy himself alcohol and drugs. She wants to leave this guy. And she tells him she wants to leave him. So what does he do? He beats her because he knows that she can't leave him because there's no divorce and they don't have the money for the annulment.
Mhm.
So now she must live in misery for the rest of her life. And what's going to happen? How bad can it get? And this is what, and this woman is supposed to stay married for what reason? Because of a religious law that we misinterpreted from a long time ago. A foreign man marries a young girlfriend and turns out to be a scammer and then takes all his money and gets his house. And then 20 years later, he meets a woman that he really does love and he can't marry her because he can't get an annulment with this girl because she won't agree to it because she wants the money. Um,
Yeah.
he's stuck in that marriage for the rest of his life. He's got to go to court and try and spend $200,000 to agree to get an annulment for a woman that won't do it. It's one of the biggest forms of corruption in the country, and I should let Lolly Tolentino chime in because I know that you want to before I go
Well,
crazy.
all right, in the first place, annulment is really, there's some people, friends said, oh, this is really ridiculous because, it will cost them like 300,000 to file for annulment. Okay. Now, what in the first place, if you're, because there's a thing that they say, okay, I forgot the exact word that they use, but then this is something crazy about this annulment thing, and that's why they've been trying to push make divorce legal in the Philippines, and it's been a clamor for a long time. But then like you said, like the religious sector, they don't want that. Okay, they want people to be together, even though they get beaten by the husband or maybe the wife or something from time to time. But then my own personal view about this also, because I've seen it. I've seen friends who get beaten, and really a traumatic experience. Why not? Okay, first is what I'm going to tell the couple is this. Okay, work it out. Try to work it out. Maybe you can maybe just lacking of this or whatever. Then work it out, and then if it didn't really work for sometimes now, maybe this is the time for you to really part ways. Because I know some people get, the husband or the wife killed just to
It
be
happens
free,
all the
which
time.
is wrong. Why will we get there?
Yeah. How do you
Right?
get to that point? How do you get to that point? And I've had this argument on the radio with multiple people, and I say, this is the situation the girl is in right now. Let's just use, it happens both ways. The guy can get in a bad situation too, but the girl is in
Yeah.
a situation now where she may get killed. And the guy said, no, they should stay together. They should try and work it out. There is no working out. He is going to kill her eventually. He's going to beat her to death one day. So she should not be allowed to. Well, what she should have done is she shouldn't have married him in the first place. But since she did, it's her responsibility to work it out. And to me, that is the stupidest argument I have ever heard. Because when you get married, you may be of one mindset. And you may know the person, but we don't know what a person is going to be like. Nobody knows what another person is
Yeah.
really like. We don't know what somebody is really like. We think we know. We meet them and we date them and we go out and have drinks and we have wine and we sit and watch Netflix together and we have a great time. But I don't know what he's going to be like 3 years from now. And he
Yeah.
doesn't know what he's going to be like 3 years from now. And so, sometimes our life is short enough as it is, and we have to live our life with this person being in fear of what's going to happen, or in a relationship where there is no love at all. And
Yeah.
there may be children in this relationship, and the children may be suffering, and their lives are disrupted and cruelly, dealt with whatever in cruel ways because of the fact that they cannot separate. And this has happened during this pandemic. During this pandemic, there have been tons of, I can go through, this is a whole nother subject, whatever, where there has been lots of domestic violence because people are stuck together who shouldn't be together. And so, and then as far as the annulment goes, how much does it cost to get married? Not very much. How much does
Yeah,
it
it
cost
depends.
to get rid of that person? 300,000 pesos. So, there is, and what do they do with that 300? Why? Why does it cost 300,000 pesos to go, okay, you're not married anymore? It's because, this is what has happened. It's built up into this so corrupt way of dealing with it that they can't undo it now. And so, first thing, okay, they should have something, and maybe it should cost something, but 300,000 pesos is ridiculous. And it makes forces people to stay together, and it makes judges rich. And, the certain politicians, they don't want to undo this because they're making so much money out of it. And it just seems very obvious to me. And I think it is not good for the Filipino people. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but, that's just what I believe in this particular case.
Yeah. So my 2 cents is, don't marry a person whom you really don't know, because but you really don't know the person till you live together, right? So that's the thing.
Yes, that is true, and a lot of people are going to disagree with that too. But I believe, and I've said this before, you shouldn't live together, and you shouldn't have intimate relations until you get married. In these days and age, you need to you need to take the car out for a spin. You need to drive it around the block a few times and make sure that you can live with this car for the next, 70 or 80 years. Just my thought.
Yep. So to our listeners, think about it.
Think about it.
All right, let's go now to Renato Makati. It's already GCQ in NCR. Do you think it's practical to do this rather than extend it to MECQ till the end of May?
I don't know. I don't know. I got a feeling probably in the end of May they'll go back to MECQ. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Honestly, I don't really see the biggest difference between the two. Okay, the curfew is a little later. But as I've said before, these mini lockdowns, these kind of half lockdowns, do they work? Are they slowing the virus down? Are they making things better? I can't see it. I mean, I guess it's helping in some ways. It's aggravating, but is it going to be a huge drop in cases because we went from MECQ to GCQ? The other way they're really going to tell is to go from MECQ to nothing. That's the way we're going to tell. That's the way we're going to know. Is first thing, they should continue to keep people wearing masks and educating people. Educating people. But, saying that, okay, you can only have 25% of people in the restaurant. I mean, I go through the mall when they switch back to GCQ. Man, I see restaurants full of people. I mean, there's not 25% of people in there. So I don't know. I don't know how much difference it's going to make. Like I said, the only way to not get the virus is to take cement blocks and cement up your door and your windows and never come out of your house. Otherwise, I think they're going to have to, one day they're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid. These are all Band-Aids. And, they're pulling the Band-Aid off really slowly. And it hurts to pull it off. And sometimes you've got to put the Band-Aid back on and then you pull it off again. One day they're just going to have to rip it off. And then do what we've said do on the show, is they're going to have to educate people about how to deal with the life that we have now. Waiting until May 30th and then going back to MECQ. Is that going to help? I don't think so.
Yeah, nobody knows actually about this then. Okay, the only reason probably the government is doing it because we saw that a lot of people are not following this health protocols. That's why they need to do
Exactly.
this. They need to implement something.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all depends on the individual. If you want this virus to go, just follow. From our own, what do you have to do? Now we know what we should do, but the problem is some people are really stubborn and hard-headed, not following the safety protocol. Too bad.
We do know because we tell people on the World News Jam.
Yeah. From Anne of Las Piñas. Good news. Philippines are getting more vaccine now. What can you tell the Filipinos who are still afraid of vaccines?
Don't be afraid of the vaccine. We have said it before. Don't be afraid. Look at Lolly Tolentino. Look how great she looks. One of the things that I've said before is the wrong people are getting vaccinated. Is the people like you, Lolly Tolentino, are getting vaccinated. And people like you are, smart and wear your mask and your face shield and stay away from crowded rooms and so forth. It's the people that don't. The people in the poor neighborhoods, the people that are kind of forgotten in regards to this thing. And that's where I believe that the virus is really spreading right now. And we don't know it because they won't get tested and they won't get a vaccine. And they don't, follow the protocols and so forth. That's where I think that the vaccine needs to go. And then here I'm going to say a word which a lot of people are going to jump on. Maybe the vaccine should be mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to go,
I agree.
What did you just say? And sometimes I think in a place like the Philippines, they're going to need to make the vaccine mandatory in some places. I can't believe that I'm even saying that because I'm against stuff like that, mandatory vaccines. But in this particular case, there are people that aren't going to take the vaccine, and they aren't going to take the vaccine for silly reasons. If you take this vaccine, you're not going to become like somebody on The Walking Dead. You're not going to become a zombie and and walk around and eating brains. It doesn't happen. I have never heard of anybody who took the vaccine becoming a zombie yet. So I know that people are saying that, but it is not true. You should take the vaccine. It's the only way we're going to beat this thing and get out of this problem that the world has gotten itself into.
Yeah. And plus, it's all free. Why not take it?
Yes, it's free.
Now let's go to June of Bulacan. Secretary Galvez, the vaccine czar, said we are looking for a better Christmas this year. Do you think it's doable, realistic prediction? I hope so.
I would like to say yes. I would love to say yes. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. We're in May right now. We have somewhere around 2 million people vaccinated. They're still in GCQ. They're bouncing back and forth between GCQ and MECQ. I can see other countries being fully open and able to walk around as normal during Christmas. I don't see the Philippines right now as being one of those countries. And I would like to say yes. I would like to be very positive. But, here on this show, we're very blunt and we're very honest. And we give opinions based on factual information and based on the rate of vaccine distribution in this country and the economy and the inflation and the unemployment. By Christmas, which is 6 months, we're in June, I can't see that, tourism is still zero as far as foreign tourism coming into the country. We'll have to wait and see if the numbers drop in June, July, and August. But do you think the numbers are going to drop by a significant enough amount that we can completely stop, everything we're doing and go back to normal?
Not yet, because as long as, first is we need all the vaccines. But they said it's coming, but it depends on the schedule. There was some delay before, right? Now we got the Pfizer
we have no
now,
way
so
of knowing that.
AstraZeneca is available. So if we can really do, fast vaccination the moment all the vaccine gets in. But the problem, it takes time to get here. So, well, it will be good, really, if December we will be, will be okay. But we hope and pray it will happen. But who knows? You never know.
I know you don't know. However, like I said, looking at the factual information that I have before me, it's hard to believe that the Philippines could get even close to being back to normal by Christmas. I know they're talking about being able to allow foreigners back into the country in 2022. I think that is going to probably be a stretch because we said before, the big issue is the vaccine. It really is. That is the big issue. First you got to get the vaccine here, and then you have to change the way we think about the vaccine. Just as many people don't want to take it or think that I don't need to take it as people that do want to take it. So that can't be. That just can't continue. They need to change the people's minds. Yeah, doing these mini lockdowns, okay, we can keep doing that, but until you change the minds of the people, you're not going to be able to get out of this thing. And especially you're not going to get out of it in the next 6 or 7 months. So I think that the government needs to really bear down on that particular subject, because really the key to Christmas is going to be, I have to say this, is going to be in the vaccine, because this thing is not going to end. Have you seen the numbers that are coming, out now, right now, the numbers of people in the hospital? It's not just going to end. It's not just going to end. And a lot more people have it, I believe, than they say have it. And I think the numbers of people who have died is very similar to like what's going on in India. They don't know the exact number. So I believe that a lot of stuff has to happen. This thing is going to end. It's going to end eventually. It's just, how quick do you get to that eventuality?
Yeah. So please, people out there, if there's a vaccine available, just take it. So we will have Christmas, so we can bring back our economy, and we will have fun again.
Fun in the Philippines. So everybody out there, all our people that are listening, listen to Lali Tolentino. She is giving you the best advice. And on that note of Lali's advice, we will have to say goodbye for this week because we are out of time here on the World News Jam on DZRJ and RJTV. My name is Eric Lecain. I would like to thank you, Lali Tolentino, for coming on the show as always. And Lali, we will see you next week with more interesting questions from our viewers that we can discuss here on the show. And until then, Lali, everybody out there, be safe. As Lali said, get your vaccine because it's free. Wear your mask, wear your face shield, and we will see everybody next week.